the attempted emotional blackmail that, well, I shouldn't even call it an attempt because it's been rather successful, of the drowning Hulk Hogan kid, the meme that's been removed from all over the internet. Anyway, I don't know what his name was, but we've all seen the photograph. It don't matter. The poor children. The photograph of the little 3-year-old dead Syrian boy. Anyway,
at this point, I think that these people that are absolutely fucking shameless in their cucking for this need to be shamed. Like, we have to start relentlessly shaming these people for stabbing their own kind in the back for the sake of petty moral signaling. Like, it makes me so fucking sick to see people saying, we're just fine with this is great. We can't refuse it because that would be racist. We're going to even come out and clap and give them flowers and call them heroes.
Well, look, if you don't do this, look at someone died. And the person who died wasn't 18 yet. That makes it even worser. So you have to care more because this one didn't get a chance to grow up to be, a terrorist yet. He was still a kid. He had all that terror ahead of him still.
The whole reason why this happened is because laws exist, We just need to get rid of the border laws.
They're artificial lines.
We don't have to worry about drowning.
They're arbitrary artificial. I love it when you ever get this when they use the word arbitrary.
Arbitrary.
State borders are arbitrary lines. They're just arbitrary. Just somebody just on a whim.
Yeah.
Just made them up. They're arbitrary.
Yeah, look. Try looking at the European map. Just throughout the 20th century.
It's completely arbitrary.
They just move all the time.
Watch how they move all the time, and I wonder how many people died for that line to move over there that time, and then back.
Had open borders, and when Genghis Khan and the Mongols showed up, they just would have had capitalism, and not piles of skulls and cups made of the skulls of your enemies.
Yeah, that's right. Holy shit. But yeah, I don't know if you want to look at this. I have a story from the Daily Koala. It says the story begins to unravel about the drowned Syrian boy. Just to get it out of the way while we just had that on.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you have this kid was living in Turkey for 3 years. They were not in Syria for 3 years. They've been out of Syria for 3 years. All right. Something happened where the kid's father wanted to get some dental work done, and the father had a sister who lives in Canada who was paying their rent, sending them money, and she tried to get him to get into Europe to have some dental work done, and he decided, you know what? If I'm going to go to Europe during this refugee crisis thing that's happening, I want to bring my whole family, and I think we're just going to stay there. Even though we're doing pretty good in Turkey, it's not the best, but we're not in any danger. We're going to go across there. And basically, this kid died because his father wanted nicer teeth.
Yeah.
It's pretty disgusting.
He wanted welfare.
He wanted welfare. He wanted teeth.
He died for Gives Me That.
I'm sure that he wasn't planning on paying for that dental work.
He died for Gives Me. And
died for Gives Me.
Somehow the left managed to turn it from.
Well, how rare is it that you have on camera? No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The left managed to turn it from, irresponsible people coming here for teeth Gives Me, and letting their kid fall off a boat and die or something because they're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And into this only happened because borders and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it only happened because white Western civilization isn't willing to take up its responsibility to these people to make sure that everybody's okay. Somehow it's our moral responsibility, us in Europe, to take care of all these people. And even though that they're say what you will about how much the West had a hand in causing their problems. I wouldn't say it's exactly the white West that started the problems over there.
Oy vey!
But still, a little bit, whatever. But still, it's not our responsibility for what happens in Syria, for what happens in the Middle East. These people are fighting and displaced. It's not up to us to pick up, Greg Johnson's crying babies and hold them and make sure they're okay. I mean, it just can't be asked of us. But that's the attitude that's given.
Well, it's certainly not Europe's fault
No, it's not.
Of the civil wars in the Middle East right now. Now, arguably, the United States played a role. But I still don't think the United States has any responsibility to these people, and we know who was behind that war. So, and of course, fucking Bibi. It's like, it's so funny that like the question of whether or not Israel is going to take on refugees is even broached. That it makes you laugh to even consider it. Right?
Yeah, I wonder.
And of course, you know that it's absurd. And Bibi, and the funny thing is,
I saw a story that they're deporting their like African migrants to Europe too.
To Sweden.
Here's that.
Sweden. Yeah.
Mike,
finish up. Let him finish his point. Hang on.
Oh,
they find reasons to deport people, even they claim to be Jewish, that aren't like, Ashkenazi or Sephardic or whatever. But the funny thing is that Bibi doesn't feel any need to lie about these things. He's just said, no, we're not bringing in a bunch of Arabs, and there's terrorists hiding among them. So of course we're not going to bring them in. And it's
simple as that.
It's so plain. And every single neoconservative, non-Jewish neoconservative in the U.S., every single person that reads NRO and still believes it for whatever God, who knows why, but they would like nod their head. Like if you were to say to the average like conservative, like, okay, so there's this huge crisis of like half of Syria's population is heading out of Syria and towards Europe, basically. Half of the population, country of about 18 million people, so about 9 million people are leaving Syria and going towards Europe. And if you were to say, hey, should Israel help with some of these refugees? Any American conservative would laugh at the idea.
Right.
And they would say no, because they're Arabs and they're Israel's enemies and they're going to have terrorists and all this stuff, and they're not Jews and Israel's for Jews. They would say all of these things. Yeah. But then it's like so you want to take on 500,000 of them.
Yeah. So you want to turn Israel's allies into Arabs, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: Israel doesn't really consider Europe its allies, and Europeans tend to be much harsher on Israel than Americans. So, and of course, the nation that has to take them in is the one that they hate the most.
Deutschland.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny.
What I was saying is, what I was saying. Do you remember? This is from a long while ago. That Jewish lady. I can't remember her name. Like something Barbara Specter, is that her name?
It don't matter.
Barbara Specter, I think, is her name, and she's the one who was, all over the internet a while back for her. She was in Sweden talking about how Sweden needs more brown people, and she was like, she was on camera saying like a direct quote from her was how Europe is not going to be the monolithic societies they once were, and they're entering a multicultural mode, and Jews will be resented because of our leading role, but it has to happen because otherwise Europe will not survive. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, well, like on her Twitter, she was going on about how this and this European country like ought to take more migrants, and how she's so proud that Germany is taking in all these brown people and whatever, and then someone responded to one of her tweets and said, "Why doesn't Israel take in more people? Or why doesn't Israel take in some migrants?" And she goes, "We're a small country with only 8 million people. We have enough problems as it is."
Right. Yeah, because other countries don't have any problems. Right?
Like Denmark has less. Sweden has
Sweden has like maybe 10 million people.
Yeah. I think it has about 9 million. So it's like pretty much almost on equal terms with Israel in terms of population.
Yeah.
And of course it doesn't matter.
Sweden's 9.6 million.
Yeah, and she just responded to it with like someone pointed out basically that she's like full of shit with that remark, and then multiple people, and every time it happens she just responds like. Actually literally responds with like, if they're European people, she'll respond with they're racist, and she'll go as far as she can to make sure that they get like hate speech charges against them. And this is the same Jewess who if you look around at her tweets, like she'll occasionally throw in like hashtag end white people.
Oh yeah. No. That woman is evil, and she's despicable, and I hate her. And Yeah.
I hate to say this, but I have some sort of twisted admiration for how obvious she can be about it. Because she can say, Denmark, which has 5 million people, should take in a bunch of Arabs who hate them. And then you say, well, why should Israel do that? And she's like, no, that would be retarded. Why?
Yeah.
We don't do retarded stuff in Israel. You white people, you do retarded stuff. And the white people say, that is retarded, so we'll do it. Yeah,
we'll do it.
Like you can tell a cucked white person, this is stupid. This will hurt you, but you have to do it to be a good person. And Israel's not going to because it's stupid and would hurt them. And they'll be like, yeah, I think you have a point. I should do it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing how as soon as you bring Israel into the question, the logic of it becomes clear. You know, and this is a very effective for.
Well, thank God Israel exists then.
Well,
Go
no,
Israel.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this is a very effective thing to say to American whites that, you know, conservative whites that tend to support Israel and just sort of, and their reaction will be immediate and it will make sense. It's like, well, shouldn't Israel take on a bunch of Syrian refugees? Well, no, of course not. It's a country for Jews. Of course they shouldn't take on a bunch of. And it's like,
no, it's an ethno-national
aren't we a country for whites?
But wait, why is it? Well, but Germany has to take them, and Germany can't be a country for Germans. I mean.
What?
Yeah, and then but then it's like
the last time that Germany was for Germans, guess what happened?
I'm actually getting. This is the first time this may have happened, but I'm actually, even though it's not visible in my voice, I'm getting so triggered. I actually have to step away from the show for a while. So
no, I understand.
Like if I keep going, like I don't know what I'm gonna. I don't know. So I need to just go take a breather.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm actually serious.
No,
yes,
it is that
he's a young man. He still cares about things. You know?